sorry.
excused.
I will call this budget meeting to order at 6:39. And everyone but Chris Clemens is accounted for. Okay, he's excused tonight. Do we need to do the pledge again? You guys want to do the pledge again?
Fine
We're gonna do
now.
it. All right. So we have an agenda in front of us. Any changes?
No.
All right. Consideration of the consent agenda. So when we finished the last budget committee meeting, we had a meeting, so we had meeting minutes from way back when. So many of you weren't here, but we have the final budget meeting minutes included in the packet to approve. Does anyone have any comments?
Would this be the original or the amended ones?
Ooh. Meeting minutes?
Would this one be part of the amended or?
We didn't amend them yet.
Okay.
So did you have questions?
Well, I saw, in, the third line, journal entries didn't match. That was kind of alarming to me, which I think you also brought up, Mr. Joe there, because I know he's a numbers guy.
Yes.
And grants for road maintenance, have we looked into any of that? And then,
No.
questions.
Well, yes.
Well,
Are we considering those to do?
Well, that will be part two, right? We're
Okay.
working on, so that we would have a real cost estimate, real quantities, and a real need. Because we kept saying, we should apply for grants, like, how much do we need? I don't know. I mean, in my universe, you'll never get a grant if you don't have all the specifics spelled out, and tell them exactly what you're gonna deliver. So I think, so to answer your question on a roundabout way, we're getting there.
Okay.
And it's an unusual situation, because Jamie was city administrator when we were going through this, so if we have any revisions, we're not gonna follow up with Jamie, we're just,
No,
if we need
I-
to, we'll make an adjustment.
I agree with that.
Okay,
I just had that question on there that if this was amended, because it seemed like it was not
no, it was,
completely squared away. at
we
this
didn't have
point.
any follow-up, right, we ended that meeting and it was just council business after that, and so, I think it's never been back in front of you.
So you need a motion to approve?
Yes,
No. We can't fix the budget.
Who was here that could make a motion that served on this particular committee at the time?
these two,
I
and
think
Susan.
it'd be better for you three to make the motion.
I don't feel comfortable just because
We don't have a copy of the minutes.
Oh, they don't have a copy of the minutes.
It should have been in your packet, Susan.
It was in the email.
Yeah.
from afar.
No, I remember the question, because we fixed later, because it was the audit process where there were some corrections, and that came to council later.
Yeah, because Joe actually called the
Right.
auditor, remember?
It didn't
You and
come
I
back to
called the
budget
auditor.
committee, it came back
Yeah.
to city council through the audit.
I remember that, but did it get fixed on the journal entries to match?
Well, whatever it
I don't
was,
think
it was
they
fixed
were
because the audit was
Able to
approved.
be,
Correct,
yeah, they weren't
Okay.
able to be changed,
It was just noted.
Okay.
yeah.
correct, and it's on
Right,
non-report.
exactly. So it's just
It didn't-
identified.
It didn't end up being an audit finding then,
No,
okay.
So what's new and
I
improved.
know, you wouldn't have gotten it, so. I know.
did you find them, Susan?
No, I don't have them, and Alan didn't get sent them, so.
I got what's new in Dune City only.
I got that too.
I got the weekly email.
Okay, I can, you want me to put email?
I think I can do it right here.
Okay.
If our internet cooperates. And now I can't.
Okay.
Okay.
I have it here, what's Susan's?
I have her email, I sent it.
Susan, I just forwarded it to you.
Nope.
I do
Go
too.
right quickly to it.
But I start off getting all that state legislature stuff.
Oh.
Okay.
Before this, look one together.
All right. You wanna give them just a minute?
Okay, I sent it to Alan so he can pull it up on a separate computer.
All right, we'll give you a minute.
59, 58.
Oh, here.
Wait, depends on the signal. We might need a little bit more than a minute to get that signal. It is truly a sad thing.
I made it like a countdown. It's easy.
Packets,
You hit minute
And she
1, 2,
picked up
3 for 3-minute comment. and then
this,
go,
which was
and
not
then
great.
when you run out of time.
my one page packet. It's her other one is here.
You're gonna give her a 30-second.
30 seconds, 30 seconds.
Does anyone want to do just a minute?
You got it. I thought I sent it to you and Alan at the same time.
Hold on, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, when you will get it.
My God, it came through. There we go.
No, it's all right.
Amazing.
I just feel better. But no, I didn't.
Cool.
Were you excited to see all this there? Did you notice that it's good?
Yeah.
I'm like, I got trouble recognizing this.
Hey, tell the Spectrum folks, you know, we're all gonna switch to man.
Yeah, we're such a small area, they wouldn't care. They'd be like,
You know,
okay.
last time I called, they go, we need to get all residents to come.
How many, ask them how many hours do you have?
Well, when I put it on the neighborhood Facebook and everybody, I got like 3 people, but I just connect to Wi-Fi at home, I don't worry about it. I'm like, if they in a car accident, I'm going, I'm not doing it.
Is there any kind of like emergency management play we can play on that?
I tried.
Really?
I started at corporate, because I used to do that, and I said, hey, we put millions into FirstNet. And I called our senator's office. She's like, let me look into it. She goes,
Oh, Val Hoyle.
yeah, Val Hoyle, but yeah, no.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no.
I got that from like 3
It's
different
not large
offices.
enough to concern her.
I go, I know the drill, the FirstNet, man, the federal government pumps millions and millions and millions, and I can't dial 911. And they go, yeah, we checked, they don't care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Perfect.
To be of a
Thanks for helping.
little concern with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Organizations.
They just changed the numbers. And I used to accuse the cell phone companies of that, because we permitted, you know, all the small cells and light poles and city real estate for towers and we had leases. And I'd say, how come you're always in the rich part of town? Oh, no, we don't do that. We don't. It's like,
Yeah,
really?
you do.
Really? Oh, humor me this. There's nothing on this side of town. But I got employees that drive those streets, sweeping them and taking care of water and sewer, and their cell phone don't work till they get on the side of the street. So I said, I'm not gonna say anything publicly, but you want 3 of them on this part of town, I want 3 of them on that part of town. And I put it in the list. So when they started rolling out small cells on light poles, you know, they said, we want to do 150 of them. Better be 50 of them on that side of town. They're like, there's 39, it's close enough.
No, almost 50.
And I said, no, as long as everybody's cell phone works, I don't really care how many there are, so. But that's much denser, you know, that's
So you don't get.
6 per acre,
Just do it electronic.
you know, hundreds of acres of subdivisions and, you know, a couple of thousand customers here in a relatively low neighborhood, so.
It's just so dangerous. You go that way. I ran out of gas before and had to walk a half mile with shorts and flip-flops up a road in the dark. Now it's my fault for running out of gas.
We should give all our residents CB radios.
Go old school.
It's like the 70s.
Breaker.
City Hall.
Hey, I'm now certified by the Coast Guard as a telecommunication operator, so we can set up a little net. I can
We have one.
And we've read them, and we both will, she'll motion for approving, I'll second it.
Awesome. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries. Thank you. All right. That takes us to item 5A, committee procedures, which are in your packet.
And Melissa, you sent them the whole packet, correct? I'm sure.
Yeah, I was sent them the whole email.
Yeah.
Perfect,
So
perfect.
I did too.
it was in there, so.
Yeah, perfect. So basically, just wanted to kind of go over some procedures. I'm reading mine, I'm studying how to do budgets, right? This is my very first city budget, so you kind of are at the mercy of my kind of learning here, so I apologize if it's repeated material. But so for a budget committee, as you can see, we kind of do the same thing we normally do with regular meetings. We have an agenda. We're going to follow the Roberts rules. Schedule, I was thinking that we would have it before the council meeting, so at 5, and then basically last no later than 6. We do need to select a chairperson to be the presiding officer.
Yeah. Is everybody good with 5 PM start?
Yeah, I push it, you guys, healthcare, there's a lot of times I'm not out of the office until like 4:30, and yeah, to get here by 5 pushes.
Yeah, 5 o'clock's actually pushing it for me too, but by the time my employees get rounded up. I mean,
For
I
dinner?
can't tell you how many times I
After
get stopped from my office to
dinner.
the door.
So should we start at 6 and then just do the council meeting directly after, kind of like reverse of what we did tonight?
Can we do a 5:15?
I need 6, just so I
Yeah, I think
can
Rich
not be
does too.
stressing and
Rich is
flying
got
down the road.
dinner to, you know, in a restaurant at the same time, so. You know, as long as we don't, I mean, because when we've had work sessions, we've done 6 to 8 to go through an entire ordinance, so as long as we're not trying to do that after, we should be able to do like 6 to 7, 7 to 8, worst case, and we won't put any big hairy work items on the same night as budget. And the budget should just be a couple, 3 meetings or so if we're all prepared to get through this process. So,
I'm good with 6.
okay, yeah, let's keep it at 6, we'll go 6 and we'll go immediately into city council so we can advertise it that way. Rather than saying one's at 6 and one's at 7, because if we finish in 20 minutes, we'll go right into city council meeting. And say immediately to follow or something. That works.
And then, so I don't know, do we want to select a chairperson tonight or do that at our first?
I wouldn't mind,
I'll make a motion to appoint Mayor Ed as our budget officer.
actually, budget officer is,
Should be
Lila,
But the chairperson.
Yeah.
As the budget officer.
the chairman.
The chairman.
I would like to be Alan Snow, our resident member and participant for a number of years. Are you willing to do that, Alan Snow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay.
Someone better second that really.
Yeah, but Lila's the budget officer, correct?
correct.
Lila's the budget officer, and you would be the chair for the budget meeting.
Right.
All right.
And we need a vice chair. I would motion Larry.
I nominate. I second that.
Could you do that, Larry?
So voluntold, that's it.
See now, you had something to say
Well,
about
I follow and accept.
it? All right. All those in favor of Alan being chair, Larry being vice chair?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Susan, Alan, did you say anything?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All
As
right.
long as Lila's the budget's officer, do we vote on her as vote?
You got plenty of support.
Yes.
All right.
I'll still be there.
Okay.
So all of the meetings will have to be obviously posted, and there will be public comment, just so you know.
Or an opportunity for public comment.
Yes, an opportunity for, yes, for sure. I think the rest of it is pretty normal.
Okay, and our council meetings, we have items not on the agenda. We won't do that here because this is, even though we look like the city council, we aren't taking comments for the city. It's for the budget, so it will only be things on the agenda. So we won't have any of those open mic night, just comments for the sake of comment.
Right. So then moving on to kind of like what is the budget and all that information. I know Larry, I know Duke, you've been here for a budget cycle, Larry, I know this is your first one. And then this was just information because again, I thought it was good to kind of revisit. So there's kind of 4 phases to the budget. So proposing the budget, approving the budget, adopting the budget, and then any changes after it's adopted. And I know that we had questions about that last year, whether or not we can do a supplemental budget. So that's kind of the reason why I put that, I added that in here tonight. And then all of this needs to be completed. So our budget has to be completed and approved by June 30th of this year. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Adopted by council.
Adopted by council. Yeah, no ifs, ands, or buts in order for us to spend money starting July 1st.
And this is just strictly a yearly budget now, it's not a biannual.
Right.
No, it's a yearly budget.
Yes,
Yes.
that's so hard to follow.
Yeah.
Kind of look at spreadsheets, that was just, I'm sorry, ridiculous.
So I have our first budget meeting, and actually, it's not even one of our council meeting nights. I had it scheduled for 4/23. I did actually 3 Wednesdays in a row. That was on the budget calendar. And I didn't know, and that's the reason why I'm bringing it up now. I didn't know if you wanted to change it.
April 23rd, I'm in Oka, I'm in Salem. Sorry. That's our annual, one of our annual meetings.
Ooh, I gotta go out of town on the 23rd too.
So we can make that the 16th.
Already booked a ticket. Okay,
16th,
with the
I
city
think.
council meeting, yeah,
Yeah.
let's do that.
Dates, are you changing it to?
Say that again?
April 16th.
I am out of town April 16th.
Okay, April 16th, I will be out of town.
So do we want to start it on April, well, I will be here April 2nd, so that's not gonna work.
I don't think I'll be here April 2nd.
So, do we start in May? Do
Well,
we
we
start in
can-
May 7th?
We can start on the 16th. Everybody doesn't have to be here.
I
as long
don't
as they
have to
quorum.
be here.
Right.
I don't have to be here.
Okay, then we just make
So,
sure we have a.
Alan, will you be
But
here?
your chairman will not be here.
Oh, both of you are out the 16th?
Yes, that's our mission, travel that we have to do.
Okay, I didn't realize that. I didn't hear all that. Okay, yeah, then the 16th is gonna be tough.
So we're not doing the 23rd either?
Schedule to approve this being
Okay,
changed,
so
so.
we start on
Right,
the 3rd.
so starting on the 23rd was good for us, and so, we put our mission schedule before that.
Okay. How about April 30?
Yeah,
Since
that
we have
was,
5 Wednesdays in April, we could almost catch up because then
and that
we'll
was,
be on the next 2 meetings.
that was the second date that I had on our calendar, so
Okay.
that'd be fine if we start that on the
So
30th.
we are doing the 30th.
Can you do that? Does that work? Rich?
Yeah.
And
6
Susan and
p.m.
Alan, you're available the 30th?
Yes, I have it. I had gone to her schedule and I scheduled all her things around that.
Okay,
So we have the 30th. That's our first budget meeting. And then are we meeting on the 7th of May?
Yes,
I would like our we have it down as the 23rd as our first budget meeting.
No, it's moved.
yes, but
yeah,
we just
there's
moved.
2
it.
more of us out of town that week.
We just moved that to the 30th.
Yeah,
And we've got to do this in 4 meetings in order to get this done by the end of June.
I know. But
We had
honestly,
it down to do it in 3, but it's
we,
what
in
was on the
theory,
calendar.
you can do it in 3.
Yeah.
This is what changes after the fact, so if it's complete and we're prepared, we can do it in 3 meetings.
So we're talking about the 30th and the 7th,
Mhm.
and then the next budget meeting would be the 21st of May.
Mhm.
How about the 14th?
So wait, okay, so the second budget meeting's on the 7th, right?
Mhm.
Yep, with regular city council meeting.
I just have to.
And then did we want to move it to the 14th, as Susan is suggesting, or do we want to do it at the next council meeting, which would be the 21st of May?
I'm fine with the 21st.
I'm fine with this.
So we would have 1 non-typical night and then 2 typical with council meetings, and we won't do any other work session stuff. We'll do this the first, we'll get this out of the way, then we'll do the council meeting, if that works for
Well, I would
everybody.
like it on the 14th in case there is something that comes up, so we don't push it out of May.
I can do the 14th too, if you want to do that.
And honestly, my goal is to be done in 2,
Okay, and then,
just because yeah.
but does the last meeting, isn't there a gap because we have to advertise it in the paper? There's a bigger gap for the public hearing and then the adoption, right?
Well, there could
Right, but
be.
that would give us time, if we do it on the 14th, that we could do it on the 4th, or we could wait till the 18th of June. We've got to do it in June. What I'm saying is we can't push this too far to the end of May, should there
Yeah.
be hiccups.
Right.
If we
I'm
do,
just thinking if your third meeting was your last meeting on the 14th, is it too soon? Or would we just skip it and say we're gonna advertise for the final adoption? Because, is it a 2-week period? We had to advertise?
I think it's, you have to have at least like in 14 days, so.
And to get 14 days means you're like 20 days to get to the newspaper in time to get it in the paper to say this is your 14-day notice. So that was
True,
our
but I think we
challenge.
only have to have public hearing once, though.
Yes.
So if you did that, yeah.
Okay,
well, if we did the 21st as our last meeting, then the 14 days would be the 4th of June.
and you'd have 2 meetings in June, you could make it. If the first one you didn't get it signed off, you'd
Yeah.
still have enough
Still
time.
have plenty of time.
So I'm good with all those dates.
I'm good for 21st.
So what are the dates again?
I think that's pushing it. I really would like it on the 14th, just because, yeah, there's enough time there, but there really isn't, because if something comes up, then you're out of time.
All right, so it's 14.
5/7, 5/14.
So 30th,
Yeah.
7th, and 14th.
And then
Yes.
we're back again on the 21st to do another one.
Just for council, in
If
theory.
there's really no budget issues where we gotta go gather information and we have some strategic things, we can do it all in one meeting and approve it. If there's issues where you gotta go back and get more information, then you need to come back and meet.
All
The
right,
main thing is that we have every budget line in the budget that we need, is you wanna have every line in the budget that we think we're gonna need for the year, that's the critical thing. Not necessarily the amount.
Because
about-
we might have to do it by the 7th. I'm just, if there's an issue, it usually takes more than one.
so what I
Like
was,
we had like the water issue where you're going back into, or the, short-term rental where you wanted to gather some information, those are what delay it. We have that, we don't.
so how about if we're meeting on the 30th, we are meeting on the 7th, we can schedule the 14th tentatively,
Yeah,
but we may opt
and we
out.
can adjust,
We
right,
can opt out of the 14th
Right.
if we're tight on the 7th and go to the 21st,
right,
right?
yeah, I'm fine with that.
Well, we can actually go, if we can approve it on the 7th, we can go to the 21st. I just want to have meetings set up just in case. That's all I'm looking for.
All right,
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, and the only thing that I anticipate, not knowing, would just be the beginning balances,
And the
right?
fund this
Because
year.
we don't have, because the audit is
and
not
that's our
complete.
reality, that's,
Yeah,
it's
so
an
that would be the
estimate
only
based
thing.
on where we're at.
But all the other numbers I have already
Okay.
I've already put in and plugged in, so.
Right,
Yeah.
When will the audit be complete?
They're working on it very heavily now. They had told us because they started late,
Well, no, wait, the audit is last year's closed out, this would be this year's ending fund balance, unaudited.
Right.
It's just an estimate of what we think we'll have left over,
Right, so when will that number be?
but Jamie used those numbers from the previous auditor, so I was assuming that I
I
needed,
think that was part of our problem though, is
okay.
because we were going from this 2-year budget to a 1-year budget and nobody could follow the numbers. I think we'll just sit and look at your spreadsheet and go, we're 10 months through the year, and here's what we've spent, and here's what's left. We're gonna do a straight line estimate and say, there's gonna be $4,000 in this fund, $1,500 in this fund, and then the expected, income, the taxes and the fees, whatever. We'll plug in what we used last year kind of thing.
Which allows you in that phase 4 to correct any of that.
The supplemental,
No,
yeah.
that one's different. That's if we got a grant and we had to add $200,000 to the budget or something. So yeah, that would be in here. You'd be approving those numbers and talking about the numbers and then approving the numbers. So we'll get close this time. I promise we'll have more.
The main thing is to focus on is approving of the budget line, not so much the numbers, because you have no idea what's gonna actually come in. The revenues are never gonna be consistent on whatever it is. We just need to make sure the line's there so we can come back and cover it if it has a major change. So think in terms of budget line. Don't think about any of your previous budget experience, like my previous budget experience. If your budget was not accurate going in, you are not gonna get what you needed. That has no relevance in the city budget. Is the line in there that you need? You wanna make sure you have the budget line in place. So if the budget line's not in place, that's when you're in trouble.
And Alan, when are you back?
Well, we
Uh,
were gonna be back tomorrow, but they canceled our flight due to the weather here.
We have-
We're stuck till Friday.
We're in a blizzard here.
Oh,
It went
wow.
from- It went from 55, 60 degrees down to 28 in a
28.
blizzard.
So
But
they
you know what?
canceled our morning, we had a morning flight at 5 a.m. tomorrow, and they let us know they canceled it and they won't take us out till Friday.
So we'll be back Friday.
Okay, so maybe you and I can meet sometime next week.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so basically I'm moving on to page 14, and basically I always want to make sure that, I wanted to tell you that it is it's a fiscal year budget, we do not do the biennial.
Right.
And it is gonna be based on revenues and expenditures, kind of based on what I'm expecting to earn next year as far as revenues and then what we're expecting to spend. The budget is prepared by fund, and so the next page actually kind of goes over the different kinds of funds. And we have the general fund, and we also have an enterprise fund, a couple of them actually.
Yeah.
So just kind of giving you some ideas of what those are.
So on page 18.
Yes. And 19, I just wanted to kind of talk about, again, that cash on hand. So it looks like Joe said he'd help me figure that amount out.
There you go.
Yeah, and so we should be good with that. So resources versus requirements, it's it's basically income versus expenditures. And then on 41, we talk about we have the personnel services, so basically all the office staff, so material and expense, or materials and services, and then the capital outlay. We don't really have any capital outlay. So, we're not, except for
A new computer this year.
yeah, an owl.
Yeah.
But those were done after this budget.
No, this budget is the one we're working on. They're in the current year.
Yeah, they're in the current year.
Yeah.
But the new budget, we don't anticipate any capital expenditure? Do we have, just, this is
Except for water.
off
just-
message, but is it like, do we have a capital reserve? Like if we don't budget for
No.
it,
No,
No? No capital?
And do we have a dollar amount for capital? Like most entities will say anything over X is capital. Because you can have a $20 item that's good for 20 years, but are you really gonna track a screwdriver? You know, a single screwdriver with a lifetime warranty, right? It could last 40 years, but it's a $6 item. Versus a laptop where you go, you know, we spent $555 and it's got a 5-year expected life. And makes a big deal in what you depreciate, right?
That's usually said by the accounting firm. right?
Yeah,
Well, most entities get to pick
Have
the
the money
number.
to worry about it.
State doesn't define it. Like states will say buildings or vehicles, anything over 10 grand, but then you can put specialty stuff. You know, if there's something you want to track, but, I mean, we're pretty simple. I mean, that's probably, these two things is the most money we spent this year
yes.
was on the OWL and, but we also cut the video contract that was annually more than the OWL.
Right.
Yeah, it was $290.
So yeah, we traded reoccurring services for capital, yeah, one time. So,
And then there's just some terms that are gonna be on the budget, so interfund transfer, on page 42, debt service, special payments, which we don't really have, operating contingency,
which we don't,
I don't really have that either.
it's a pretty small town. Right?
Yes. So there was a form that, Jamie used last year, and I really wasn't planning on using that same form. I kind of came up, basically a very simple spreadsheet that just says kind of income and expenses. It wasn't gonna be kind of this elaborate, which again, I think is gonna be a little bit easier to understand.
What page is that?
This is 44, and that's just
44.
a snapshot of it.
Got it. So one of the things, because we just started a year or so ago, was she said there's a state fund, you know, state mandated form for reporting to the state.
Yes,
So we started using that, sort of, because it was supposed to be a fillable PDF, and you saw this, Joe, right? What we were seeing in Budget Committee, the columns and the lines didn't line up. So something happened to it, and I think it was operator error more than the form, but, so we didn't want to keep two sets of books. We talked about, oh, we could do something real simple, but we wanted to make sure the Budget Committee and what went in front of the public was what we would report to the state, you know, when it was required. So take a look. I don't know what we're required to report to the state. I just remember that was much hand-wringing on her behalf because she said it's a new
it had
form.
nothing to do with the forms,
Okay.
it was basically just the numbers and the appropriations, that's all it really had to do with.
Okay.
Those numbers came off of here, but
Okay.
this is what it looked like.
Yeah. And it was confusing because we had income and expenses on the same
It was
page.
ridiculous.
And it
Yeah.
was, we were adding up.
Never
the
looked like a
columns
balanced
and-
out.
And so this is basically, I mean, it's very simple, right?
Yeah,
Income, expenses,
okay.
that's all I'm doing, income, expenses,
In one form.
per
or, sorry,
fund.
One fund,
Per fund.
one form.
Yeah,
So there's no confusion about is it general fund, utility fund?
and not this, I don't know if you guys want to.
No, you're still gonna have one form for
Thank you.
for all, or for each fund?
For each fund.
One for each
So
fund,
you
so
get
one
separate.
I thought you were
Yeah.
saying, I thought you just said you were
No, no.
doing them all, I'm like, no, 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 no,
Each
no,
has
no.
one. Yeah, so you
Thank
get
you.
water fund, when we're done with
I
water
got you,
fund,
I
okay.
misheard you, and I
And
was
that's
like,
tax, tax,
whoa, whoa, whoa,
streets.
whoa.
That's all that's on that form, yeah, so that'll be easy to follow.
Last year was like,
All right, good.
Yes.
I also think that'll be good for the citizens because they'll better understand what we're.
Yeah, if anybody wants to look at it, it's easier to follow. Yeah,
Yes.
all right.
And then so approving the budget is the next one, right, so we're basically on page 57 now.
Yeah.
It talks about who's on the budgeting committee, and we all know that. And we already kind of talked about the budget process, there's public meetings. So what does the budget committee do? They receive the budget document, which I will provide you, kind of like I do in the packets, but, you know, I'll provide that a week before the meeting. And then I'll also provide it to the public too, so it'll be out there for people to see. Here's the budget message. Here's and considers public comment, discusses and revises the budget as needed, and approves the budget. Obviously, number 6 we don't have, but this was a form that I didn't create, so I couldn't take it out.
It's fine.
What page was that?
Oh, 67. Sorry, I'm going through this pretty quick.
Gotcha.
I just thought this was good information.
Yeah, this is that class you just went through, right?
What was that?
This is the class you just went to.
No, no. I was telling Joe that I actually took a class and, I didn't really get anything. Nobody really said this is how you do a city budget. I just didn't really learn. And he said he would look up something and he gave this to me and I'm like, oh, I really like that.
My
So,
civic duty for the year, I'm good,
yeah.
time to go.
Protect and serve. Thank you.
This actually explains a little bit more than, yeah, classes I took. Anyway. So then you receive the budget document. It's a public document. And I have to release it to you folks and then obviously the public at the same time. The public has a right to inspect. And we have to provide a copy available here at the office, which will be, I have it here that it'll be available on the 16th, but now we changed the date, so, yeah.
And when you make it available, is that just putting it on our website or?
Yeah, I'll put it on the website, I'll have a copy here at the
Okay.
desk. So that people want to come in
Yeah,
and
there
take
was
a look
much,
at it.
much angst about that in the past that was mostly incorrect.
Yes, yes. If I make it available to you, then we have to make it available to the public.
Right, and so you can do it a week in advance of the meeting.
Yes, I just have to do it at the same time. Yes,
Yay!
yes. So I learned a lot about the budget message. We actually did have a budget message last year that I don't know that anyone saw. And there were some interesting things in that budget message that I discovered as I read through it. So I've already created one. You'll see it. And I know the mayor has seen it, but yeah, just kind of basically just talks about the year as a whole, what has happened as far as our finances, and then what we can expect for the next year. And then here, public comments. So then discuss and revise the budget, basically at our meetings. And you need to look over my numbers and see if, basically say, yes, I agree, or no, I don't agree, we need to increase that or decrease that, or whatever you folks feel.
I noticed in the pictures,
Mhm.
on page 70, everyone raises their hand.
Yeah.
And then on the next one, the guy's wearing a tie. These aren't pictures of our meetings.
No, they're not. The next thing would be
We never
to
have that many hand raising in my
That's very
apartment.
orderly.
approve the budget. And it kind of just shows you how to, I move that the budget committee
All right.
approve the budget. And then we adopt the budget. So at that point, then we do a resolution to adopt the budget.
And this is one that needs more notice than a normal council meeting.
Isn't phase 3 adopted by the council? That's a council vote?
Yes,
Right, so we will make that recommendation to council and then
the council.
whatever meeting we can make with our notice, the council will then approve.
Yes.
Right, we make a recommendation to council.
Yes,
All right.
yes.
All right.
Not really, for that. So then, okay, there's the resolution, sorry. So then we have to have the resolution after you, on or before June 30th, the governing body must enact a resolution to adopt the budget and make appropriations, yep. And then basically the rest just talks about any changes that can be made after an adoption of the budget. So the supplemental budget and how that process is and things like that. If you have any questions.
And on page 89, they clapped when it was approved.
You like those pictures.
Wow.
I didn't say it's not.
I know.
It's about like a $13 million budget.
Like I know.
Hurrah, no.
Whether they were done dealing with the budget,
They
wanted
didn't
to be
clap
over
for the
with.
government. Yeah, that's what it was, that's the budget committee.
Are we out of here?
Finally.
Do not overspend.
Yeah, do not overspend, yes,
All right.
yes. I don't know if anyone has any questions on process.
No, I appreciate the slideshow.
I've been through this before. in a different district here in Oregon, so
All right.
pretty straightforward.
Well,
Since you made all color copies, do you want to save these for next year?
sure.
I was wondering-
Oh, you printed them
I'll
out.
print them out, I'm gonna keep it, because I
Okay.
keep it like here.
So I have a question, do we have a conscious understanding of any of these little hidden obligations like we had with the law firm for the water? Are there any other things that are hanging out there that we are,
Well, not that we're aware of.
Yeah.
okay? So,
Who said there's the things we know, the things we don't know, and the things we don't know, we don't know?
okay, I mean.
Yeah, but we don't need any.
Unfortunately,
Okay,
unfortunately,
this kind of a closed meeting? You never know, Larry. There was several things that were done that were never brought through the budget committee or the city council, so we'll find those as we find them.
Okay,
That doesn't happen anymore.
No. I mean, it is a recorded meeting, but yeah,
yeah.
we
so-
had no idea. I was like, how did we get this contract approved? That's why I called Susan. That's like, you've been on the council for 7 years. Were you ever briefed on this? No. I was like, oh dear, it's a big contract. And then I talked to the water resource guy.
It was yesterday,
He's
we
like,
keep
it's
on, we
100.
truck today forward.
It's $140 an hour and you need to do all this, this and this. And I'm like, whoo, time out. Pencils down. I can't afford to keep talking. That's okay. And then we got a bill for the meeting.
I asked
Where
him
you
for a
explained it.
contract and he told me to make a copy of the
Well,
contract.
hopefully that's the last surprise.
I hope.
Oh, but do we think,
I think we're done with things like the fish screens and a lot of them came out in the audit.
Fish screen.
Yeah,
Because of the concern, even though they're not city pumps, yeah, and so anyway, and I told the water rights folks that, and the Department of Wildlife, I go, okay, it's your requirement, I'm not gonna do it anymore. I mean, we spent thousands and fronted money as a city with open-ended terms to pay it back. So some people wrote a check, other people said, I'll send you $10 a year for the next 100 years. And so some of these will probably never get repaid, but I said, I'm done. We've sold 400 or 300 of them, so I have evidence we're substantially compliant. And he's like, oh, I like the way you think. I said, but there was one left sitting in the hall, and we're not buying any more. We're gonna send them off.
Sell
to
the last
vendor."
one.
And they said, that's fine. The vendors, the plumbers know what they're doing.
I don't think you can sell it for a discount nowadays.
$5.
They're popular items.
so where does the city get most of its money for like road repairs and things like that?
Road
Oh,
repairs, gas
This
tax
tax.
through the state. So there's a little share that comes back.
Without apportionment.
And we lost we're told no to all the redefining zip codes, so we actually get to Florence and get all of our fees, and that's a dead deal.
No, well, the zip code's dead, but we're still working on room tax. The room tax in Oregon is wackadoodle. It sort of goes to the state, but who is it, the convention or visitors?
Yeah, Visitors Association, yeah.
Yeah, so they're fighting a bill. There's a bill that will give cities more flexibility on spending the room tax, because right now it has to be spent on tourism and marketing and advertising, and they said it really should be like, if your population doubles over the weekend, then half your police protection and fire protection could be charged off to that fund during tourist season. And right now, that's not legal. They don't really audit it, you're on the honor system, but, so there's a bill to make it more flexible, and most of the cities are supporting it, and the tourism people aren't, because they get a carve out, and some of it goes to Chamber of Commerce's and things like that. It's like guaranteed funds for the Florence Chamber. So they asked, do the mayor support? I said, absolutely, we need the flexibility. I mean, it's a modest amount of money, but, it's huge to us. It's, what, 30 grand?
About 25.
26, 30 grand a year.
Yeah.
But then when they told us, the state told us what the gross numbers look like, they're like, yeah, that really doesn't line up, does it? And we're like, yeah, it's like 80,000 versus, the 26 we got. And they're like, wait a minute. Because they originally go, no, that would never happen. And then they're like, well, here's the gross tax revenue for room tax in this.
Yeah, they changed
And we
it.
can't figure out where it's all ending up. And it might not just be Florence either, It's not well managed, as far as I'm concerned.
When
May I
that,
ask
that
you-
bill that they're proposing right now is they're looking at adding another 1% to the state. And that would actually put us at almost 13%, but
For room tax.
12.5% lodging tax, which, you know, the state of Oregon is really running small businesses out of business because if they do that, basically what they're doing is that they're gonna cut our throats because people are gonna quit coming here
It's too expensive.
because it's too expensive
Yeah.
to stay in a hotel.
Or,
And
out of townies can afford it, but you can't find labor to work there at the restaurants or the hotels because you priced them out of the market.
well, and the other part is too, is the state of Oregon has already put it in line. If you're from California, you pay extra money to come and stay here at state parks and county
Really?
parks. It's an extra 5% or something. I mean, they're really hammering small businesses. And, you know, I got a problem with the, you know, even the city or the county or the state raising our taxes for stuff that they're just not even producing.
Yeah.
You know, Lane County just approved with nobody absolutely knew. Now, inside of Lane County, you can have an RV on your property and you can rent it out and there's nothing anybody can do about it.
Really?
Yep, I think it's in cities greater than 10,000. Like the ADU stuff. They
Yeah.
carved out small cities, but unincorporated Lane County, yeah, you can park just about anywhere.
Yeah, so you can take and put an RV on your property and charge $1,000 a month for it, and so, okay, now you just stole business from me. And all these other RV parks and campgrounds and everything else all over the place.
That's in an incorporated city, they can do that?
No, I think it's cities greater than 10,000 or unincorporated areas of the county approved it.
Yeah. But I mean, they're just running it into the ground. It's crazy.
I have another question. What about grants? How do we apply for grants? Is that Lila?
I'll have to
is
go
that your job?
shopping, yeah.
And how do you learn about available grants?
Well, they come through I mean, I get a lot of opportunities, you know, through email,
Yeah.
through different,
For cities,
Yeah.
yeah, the coffee nut stuff.
Do we subscribe to, I know my company used to do it, we had subscribed to certain agencies and you get all of the grants,
Yeah,
federal, so
LCOG
that's
and-
what it is.
Yeah, League of Cities, that kind of
Oh,
thing.
that's LCOG.
Yeah, they send all
Okay.
that, and we got League of Cities and Lane Council of Government, and they'll say, here's an opportunity for
Yeah. So we
coastal community or small community or whatever it is.
Well, I know that there's a big concern about recreation in this area.
Yeah.
And I know that Mayor Ward and others have wondered why we don't have a recreation district. So we have a library district, we have a fire district, we have an ambulance district, we have all kinds of districts. And some of the opportunities that they like to see on the coast could be facilitated by having a district, if, of course, the voters approved it. But
Right.
I know that Florence, for example, got a grant to expand their pickleball courts, as did Veneta. Veneta just finished their pickleball
Very
courts.
nice.
And so I'm wondering if something crossed our plate on getting a recreation type grant, like maybe it's improvement of docks or fishing facilities or who knows what. If that included some kind of a match, that would be difficult
Yeah.
for us.
You have to be really
That's-
careful, you have to be really careful on details on the grants, because they usually come with a match. And they have a logistics tell. Logistics tell is the operational thing, which we don't have the money to operate once you get them. So you have to read the details on them before you go into them.
Sure,
A
well,
lot
I
of
just,
times they'll come, you put something in and then you have to come up with the money to maintain them.
right,
sure.
so what I was wondering about is if we were to know of grants that were recreationally minded, and if the region wanted to get a recreational district in place, you know, maybe that could be the funding mechanism for the 10% or 20%, whatever you have to kick in, and the ongoing obligation to run it, because
I'd
Is
like
it-
to first focus you on what we have. If they have a grant, I'd like to go get road grants where we can
Okay.
get a place where you can grind and repave our roads on a regular basis, you know. We don't have anything in place to replace our roads. Like you were talking on reserve fund, there's no such thing that you're required to have an HOA. And so, and we need to focus on grants on what we've got before we move out to something we don't have.
Oh,
Go back and we put in that portage out on the dam, which is a good thing, but you need to go make sure you maintain it. Maintain what we got, and then we'll go look at something we don't.
sure.
Not saying no to that, Larry. I just, we've always talked, you have to read the details, because they have a matching thing, and then you have to pay for it afterwards.
Yeah, so my question was, whose job is it? It sounds like it's Lila's.
Do you, so you subscribe to
It was Lila's staff, as they used to have time.
There's grants.gov, they will send you all the grant ability to search for things. I have it, I get it in an email.
So, I would need somebody to help write a grant, because I've never written a grant before. And so, yeah, I can look for grants, but I just don't, and honestly, right now with the audit, the budget,
Typically, you have a grant writer do that.
Yeah.
If you don't know,
It's kind of
if
special.
you don't know the A's, B's, and C's to grant writing and how what they're looking for and the questions that they're asking, then you're not even gonna be competitive.
Well, I know that like Florence, they have the shoreline of the river that's collapsing of the Coast Guard. And I know they got a grant to riprap that area, so there might be things that come up where it's in our best interest, like Alan said, roads, some of these repairs. Because if you can get somebody else to pick up some of that tab, we can find a grant writer.
Can we put it on
well,
our
we do have
website
one.
for?
There is a small city allotment grant that I've already planned on doing for roads. And that's why we are doing that road assessment, to be able to say, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, we need a defined need.
Yes.
Well,
And shortfall.
Duke's daughter-in-law is a grant writer, and she said that she would help the city, so,
Pretty good at it.
yeah.
Good.
Well, would you be willing to have her reach out to me?
Jamie, you know what,
She's on
on
the
the planning commission.
Oh,
planning
okay.
commission,
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that. Oh, there you go then. Okay. I think I can get a
If
hold
you
of her.
sign up for grants.com,
We get quite a bit.
you can go in there and research for anything. You could probably research keyword tree, and it's gonna give you a
It's
million different
filtered
types
out.
of green.
Well, the council or the budget committee ought to come up with a list of priorities for grants first, before we go off on some of the ones that may be a little extraneous, but
Sorry, Alan,
we got a
but
list of what we think is the most important.
Alan, I'm sorry, but pickleball course is right at the top. Well,
We're gonna send you to Florence and Benita.
a parking lot out front.
You'll park.
You know the grass right over there, you can pave it over.
Is it city?
Okay, pickleball's number one.
Because those two things do come up, and a lot of times if you own the real estate, that's your match.
Right.
Like if there's a paved parking lot and there's enough room to put 2 pickleball courts adjacent, we can say, we have a parking lot, we have infrastructure and a street light.
Well, why don't we repave let's repave the city's parking lot before we go and put a pickleball court in.
Working on that one.
You're muted, Alan, I'm sorry. You're muted.
So, you want to talk about the short-term rental fee, not a tax, since we're in the budget committee?
Sure.
So, many of you were here, right? And we talked about how we would collect the fee. And if we had a 5% tax, room tax on short-term rental, Vacasa was in the room and said, yeah, you could do that. Vacasa's saying if we don't call it a tax, they can't charge it because they only have taxes on their fees. And it's like, it's not a tax, that requires a vote. It was a business licensing fee, it's a privilege license to rent your home out. You agree to give the city 5% and it's gonna help fund. So we basically got one check in.
We've gotten now 3. But we did hear back from Vacasa, because we did talk to them after that. So what they're gonna do is they're going to basically send their customers, they're gonna charge them their fee and then tell them how much they're supposed to remit to us.
Okay. Because twice they've refused. They said, if you won't call it room tax, we won't pay it. It's like, it's not room tax.
So we have gotten nothing out of Vacasa. We've gotten nothing from process.
which was a lot of the listings.
I was say that, I knew they'd be that way because I had adverse run-ins with them.
But at the meeting, they were like, yeah, we could do that, that's the way to do it, because we calculate them all online, and, you know, and I've run into other places, and, you know, they're not shy about fees.
Right.
But anyway, I said, well, if they don't pay, then just say, well, here's your 30-day notice.
Thanks.
Yeah, so we're sending out monthly invoices now, so,
And we have now 31
yes, we now have.
short-term rentals.
Short-term rentals.
Are we auditing that in any way?
Yeah, we got
As far
0
as-
thus far, so it's been pretty easy.
No, we are, yes. Yeah, but it is pretty easy, because there's not very many.
Because nobody's sending it.
We have sent everybody's gotten,
A
you
reminder.
know, we just don't, yeah, reminders, because we don't know how much it is, so it's, you know,
Right.
don't forget you owe us.
So, yeah, they're supposed to report back and
And what are we doing if they don't report?
shut them down.
That's all in the ordinance, right?
Yeah.
That's all.
So make sure we have a system check in place.
Yeah. that's,
We still don't have a compliance officer, so that will flow through into the new budget too, keeping that as a line item.
Yeah, so I created short-term rentals as its own fund, because that was our intention, was that, so it's
Yeah.
taken out, and you'll notice,
So that
it
label.
will not be in the general fund, that portion, and it'll be on its own.
All right. Anything else, budget committee-wise? Alan, Susan, anything?
There's only one thing on the date of May 7th. Did we finalize May 7th the date? If so, could we move that to the 14th? 14th, or can we move it back the other way?
No, because.
No, Susan wanted 7.
She was wrong. She
No,
will
I
not,
didn't say the 7th. I wanted the 14th.
she won't be here on the 7th. Neither will I.
Oh, so we need to do 4:30, and then 5:14.
Yeah.
Check, not gonna-
We'll keep sending notices out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We may have to do it, we could, will we be legit and get a quorum if we do it on Zoom?
Yeah.
yeah.
On Zoom.
Yeah, you don't have to be here in person.
no,
Okay.
And
we can
Is
do
on,
it
on,
Zoom.
on 7th, we can Zoom it.
Yep.
Okay.
okay, perfect.
Keep it on the
Yeah,
7th
I
as
thought 14th was the optional if we needed it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure we're not changing
Okay,
dates.
we're good.
Y'all, I have
All
to
right.
live by a
Thank
calendar.
you. Anything else there?
I just
Anything
wanted
else?
some put out just in case.
Perfect.
All right. Melissa, anything else?
No, thank you.
Good. Mr. Joe?
Nope, good to go.
All right. Do I need a motion to adjourn this one?
Yes,
I guess I do.
I make a motion.
I think we got one. Was that you, Alan?
Yes.
You want a second it? Rich seconds it. All those in favor?
Bye.
Bye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're adjourned at 7:38. That was exactly right.